All right, so let's go ahead and we'll call the meeting to order at 5:31. Looks like all the commissioners are present, along with some of the residents and Westmount staff, which is great. All right, first off, just for the minutes, any comments on the minutes?
I have none.
No. All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to accept them?
I move.
Peggy will move, and then all in favor?
Aye.
All right, very well. So let's go ahead. We'll hit tenant comments real quickly. So Cindy, why don't you go ahead and start us out?
I'm just going to listen, Scott.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Hi, mostly just listening, but my usual thing is if there's any new update dates for the mill sprinkler thing and or bug inspections for the whole place. And just kind of curious about, and I'm sure if people look at this meeting later, to find out, because we have extra dumpsters here. So if there's any word on the garbage removal and the story on the dumpsters and how might they be here?
When is due out to pick up their dumpsters, and we already have the new ones on site. We have a new company that came in and that's taking over to do that. That's what's going on right now. We're in transition.
Yep.
I hope they know that when they come get those dumpsters, there's actually garbage in the dumpsters.
Yeah, that's what it would be, because they were supposed to come and get them.
All right. Yeah, because they're in people's parking spots and just.
Yeah, and we also assigned people new parking spots as well to make sure that it was rectified. So everybody's where they need to be.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, Wendy.
Any time dates for sprinklers and bugs?
I have so far they're going to announce me a better date, but right now I have April 21st for the MJ inspections, and then I also have extermination coming in on May 8th and May 9th.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so a tentative 21st.
You'll receive your notice on your door.
Yep.
Okay, but it's tentative for the 21st.
That's
but
correct.
We'll get the notice. Very good.
Well then, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, anything from you?
That's it.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Jim, anything from you? All right.
He's muted. I don't know.
I assume he's just listening in. If not, then you got a couple minutes here, Jim, and we can still sneak you in. But okay, so then moving on to reports from Westmount.
Okay, well, right now I have 5 vacant units. One was finally fulfilled by the housing authority from Danbury for a voucher tenant, which is 412. Originally, they took away vouchers because of what was going on with Trump. They told her voucher was no longer accepted, and then they took it away from her. And then because that was unfair to her, she was in the middle of moving her stuff out of one place to come over here, and we never got the inspection. So they relocated her back to her site, and then they had her come back in. They were able to do my inspection for her, and she'll be moving in now as of May 1st. So that's one good thing that happened. I was having a problem with my transfer because the family had an emergency, couldn't move due to money situations. So I'm moving to the next Section 8 applicant that's due to come in. And all the other apartments are more current availabilities, and I am working on applications. People are sending me documentation, and I'm seeing if they're qualifying right now. They're also coming in and viewing apartments.
So I didn't have a chance to review the paperwork that came out. So which are they all singles, doubles?
1 bedrooms, yeah.
All one bedrooms.
One bedrooms. The 3-bedroom is for a Section 8 a person that have some paperwork for. It was supposed to be a transfer unit for our apartment person here already, but they fell short with a family emergency and couldn't afford to do the move. So we're on to the next. And then 223 has been the longest apartment outstanding because I've had several applicants and then they declined. So now I'm interviewing for another applicant. I just got her documents today. I saw her today, and I also got her documents today. She's also got to bring me some other stuff, and then I could review her. She actually works for DAFCA, which is a domestic violence center here in Norwalk.
Out of curiosity, with that issue with the Danbury tenant on the Section 8 vouchers and Trump and all of that, is that just
Yeah.
that was just rumor? That was
No,
real?
I
that
had
happened,
I
that
even had
happened?
documentation. Hey, I had to show Ann. I was like, Ann, you wouldn't believe what I just got. And she was like, really? She was like, yeah, due to the unforeseen budget, we will have to cut this voucher and it's not available no longer.
But that was true
That
or
was
not?
just that was the other day. Nobody told me nothing. I didn't get anything until I spoke with the tenant, and the tenant told me, oh, I thought you got this too. And I was like, no, I didn't get anything. I just sent them all my paperwork for you, and I was waiting for a date then I called well, she's originally coming in from Stanford, so I called Stanford and I asked the worker there, and she was like, yeah, all of a sudden they gave me this, and then I had to go and I had to argue. They had a big argument and fight about it, and I'm calling the person from Danbury, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, since when is this? Is this going to happen now on all people that are transferring vouchers? Are you just cutting off? What's going on? She's like, oh, I don't know. Let me follow up. And then I guess they followed up and they saw what they did. They must have did something on their end, because all of a sudden I was getting an inspection date and everything. Like, I guess she went and she was going to speak to some congressperson, the daughter, and that like trumped it. Within like a month later, I got the notice that she was going to be accepted.
I was just checking AI, and it says that there are significant changes coming on right now.
Yeah,
and the vouchers
they're
being
cutting
cut.
the budget completely in half. I've been told by Danbury. They're
Well,
trying to cut it down completely in half. Not trying to issue any new vouchers. Transferring of vouchers are similar to being issued new vouchers because of the simple fact that it's being transferred from one destination, one allocation of funding. Like, so Stanford's allocation of funding is not going to be transferred to Danbury. It's what Danbury has available to utilize. If Danbury doesn't have to utilize, they can't give the voucher and they can't honor the transfer because the money is not available to them.
all right, and again, just checking a little bit deeper, it looks like the overall Section 8 program cuts are supposed to be 15%, and they're going to end up with new restrictions. Of course, those aren't out there yet. They will be coming.
Yeah.
And they've also proposed cuts of around 4,000 HUD employees. So, okay.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I'm still working, trying to get some tenants. If you know anybody that's 1-bedroom, also our income guidelines have went down instead of going up as of April 1st. So that is a little bit more tougher too. If the people are over a certain income, they won't qualify now for surely, because now it's even less. It's almost like, I want to say $2,000 to $3,000 less, depending on which apartment we're going into and what program it's in. It's with the 60% and the 80%, that makes us the difference here. But yeah, everything is changed. It went down, the guidelines. So
So the
still
guidelines-
my minimum income for a 1-bedroom is at $59,000. The rents are $1,649 at Millport. So that's all I have right now. That's all I can do and work with. I did speak with Rick on this, and he indicated there was no rolling back or anything. I have to go forward.
Nope, is what it is.
Well,
Exactly.
if they cut the income levels, does that mean they cut the rent?
No, it doesn't work that way, hon. Our rents
No.
continue to grow. As it is, our rents are way below where they're supposed to be.
What is the maximum rent on the 1-bedrooms?
Right now it's $2,100.
So, okay. All right. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Right. Any questions for Amy on Millport?
No, not for me.
So just to confirm, the three that you
Oh.
have left are one bedroom, correct?
Yes, they're one bedroom. They're one bedrooms, except for the three bedroom, that's another person that I already have in line.
Right.
Amy, what's the minimum maximum on that? I can ask.
It depends on how many people. So
On the one bedroom.
maximum persons in that apartment could be 2 people, only 2 people, one bedroom. There's no more than that. I wouldn't even be able to put a pregnant person with a husband there in, because it's considered 3 people then. So there's, certain restrictions that I have to follow. And with that, it's no more than 72,000 a year for 2 people. And no, the minimum allowable is 59,000.
What about for one person?
One person, it's 59 to, I want to say it's hold on, I'm looking at it right now, I think it's 64.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm seeing just seeing in the report, which, yeah, I really appreciate, the dryer vents.
Yes,
And is
The
there
guys-
anything,
the guys have been working on that and cleaning them.
Yeah.
He's ordering parts because he's in that area right now doing the inspection. So we're in phase 2 we did all the inspections. Now we're doing all the work there that needs to get done in each of the departments, and he's working on the vents as well and ordering supplies and stuff like that too.
okay,
There's some of them that he's making notes of if he cannot reach. And then we're gonna try to get our minds together and see how we'll be able to work with that and what we're gonna do next with it going forward.
stinks having random high up things to have to deal with, but
Yeah, like
Okay.
we would need a cherry picker so that we would be able to get up that high. Because it's that high on the vent is that high up on the building or whatever. So we would have to come and have a certain time frame in which we'll rent a cherry picker for that.
sure. All right, any other public questions for Amy on Millport?
Oh, how are the elevators doing?
Wonderful.
Or
It's all
elevator.
working.
Yay!
Working. We're up and running. Everybody's happy.
So that's the one good news for the month. Sort of.
Yes, if that's what you want to say. But everything else.
Yay! Everything else is upside down and backwards, and nobody knows, except the rents will go up. Okay. Thank
right.
you.
Then let's go ahead and Chandrita, hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how
Please.
are you? Okay,
Doing
from
great.
Canaan Parish, I just have one change to the report for unit S304. It's now rented, so we just have one right now, which is S407. We'll get that inspection tomorrow between 10 and 1. They should be here. That's the Danbury Housing Authority. That's also a unit transfer. She received a 3-bedroom voucher. She has a 2-bedroom originally. And for building projects, we have a new vendor for our garbage, which is Eastern Waste. They have their dumpsters here, and Oak Ridge has now picked up their dumpsters. Kimson Electric did come in and do the wiring for our package concierge in the south building. So now that's up and running. So what we're gonna do is do a tutorial for the people in the south building and also send out the instruction sheet on how to use it, because we see most people, they don't use it. They still have their packages like in the lobby, and some of them actually do have Amazon just come upstairs and put it at their door. So just in case they want to utilize it, it's up and running now. It's working. We had Huntington Power, which is here Monday. They came to complete the level 1 generator service. That means they checked both generators from the north and the south building, and they're going to send us a report to let us know. Right now, we didn't have anything to be alarmed about over the phone, he told us, but he'll send us a detailed report next week. And then we have the sliding doors issue. In the north building, we had a couple units that we were in question about. It's the little small ball at the end of the door. Like when you try to open it, it gets stuck. We're not certain if that came from the earthquake crack or installation. So we're still trying to figure out how it happened, but we have about 4 doors like that, 4 residents that we're looking at.
Hey, Shan,
Mhm.
because that one was new on the report, I wasn't aware of that one. Is it just that the ball isn't rolling? Or is
It rolls and then it gets stuck and doesn't move. But, and Aziz said, it looks like, it has shifted a 1/4 of an inch. So it's not even on track. And we had that in 4 units so far.
So just from a terminology thing, I would not go supposing anything in writing
Mhm.
about what the issue is, except for failure on the part of Anderson. Or the
Able-
contractor, because
Mhm.
it's all too easy to go ahead and say, oh, there's an earthquake, nothing works. And I think they need to prove to us that that would be the issue.
Yeah,
In the meantime, has Anderson come out to service or anyone been out there to service the doors for that, or?
no, this issue just started arising about a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm.
This is something new.
Yeah, then I would absolutely not refer to it as earthquake possibility. They have to go ahead and prove that to us versus otherwise.
Yeah,
And I do think we need to notify Anderson.
yeah, Aziz did call him.
I've been way behind on trying to go ahead and get in touch with them as far as the windows and try to get
I
that
haven't heard anything
solution, but
either, and they haven't emailed us either.
pardon?
I haven't received any updates on the emails either.
All right, so we'll add this to the Anderson problems
Okay.
over there.
Chandrita, how are the swing, I don't know, what do you call the regular doors? Because I know there were some issues with them being sticky.
We actually, when Aziz came to look at them, he was able to shave like a little bit off of it and then have it closed because they are latching. We just had a problem with 2
Okay,
so far, so then he was able to get them to latch.
okay. These are the
Those are
slide, but
latches.
these are the sliders that are.
These are the
having-
sliding doors. And also, before I complete my report, we did have the MOR. We got a couple positive feedback from Heather, who noted that the property ground was, the cleanliness of that, the vacancies that she saw, she was impressed by that, and the safety and security. And she was like, how many cameras do you have here? And I'm like, oh, we have a lot of cameras. We have about 62, but I was off one, so it's 63 cameras that we have. And she liked the butterfly system that we showed, and also the new one that we have in the community room where they're able to get to us directly. Like if you don't answer, you can also text and it'll come to our phone and our email. Like we can have, say if I'm in the bathroom, we have a resident out, which happened yesterday. I'm in the bathroom. She texts me and she goes, I'm outside. So I can see it on my phone and see it in my email. So we like that. Or if at night, if they have like an emergency, well, they call it an emergency, they can get to Izzy's directly. So we have that feature on there too. And Amy already talked about the income limits that we had. So that's another thing we have in here. Same thing at Canaan Parish with the 60%. It came out in April 1st.
So when
Is
is that effective? Those
April
rent?
1st. The income limits came out in April 1st,
Okay, thank you.
2025. And that completes my report for Canaan Parish.
Any questions for
on that?
anyone on Canaan Parish for public discussion?
No,
All right, so I guess that's it for the westbound for just under the public side. We'll go into executive session in just a tiny bit, but other items that are open for public
just-
discussion.
oh, I was just wondering, any reports on Riverwood before you shift?
I guess I'll give a report on Riverwood,
Thank you.
unless you'd like to.
Good question,
No,
Wendy.
No, I think so. I mean, Riverwood's doing fine. We still have more vacancies than we'd like, but we're still profitable. We're entering the heavy rental season. So not surprisingly, a lot of units change over related to it much closer to the school system. And so we're doing all sorts of sophisticated tracking and other monitoring of stuff, and we'll see how that goes. I think we're we're 1 or 2 more units rented than we had been before, and we're not losing people. And so hopefully we fully stabilized. There's been no major issues that have come up. The only surprise part has just been, again, that we've had higher vacancy than we want, and we know why that was and why that happened. Anything
Because I
else?
I saw the leasing sign outside, so that's been up for a week or two.
I mean, it kind of stays up forever, because it's, as with most properties, there's always turnover. Eventually zoning may come and tell us to take down the leasing sign. We're not allowed to have it or something, but in the meantime, we'll leave that up and make sure people know. I don't think there's all that much sophisticated that, Tim, is there anything more that you would add, or?
But when is the when are the affordables going to come online?
So it's interesting over there that the affordables, we only have to do 80% of AMI, and we will have 21 units of AMI by the end of October. That's when we need to have them.
So we should reach out to the people that are on the wait list over there. Is that how it's going to work? She'll reach out to people?
Yeah, it's a different form than what happens inside of Millport and Canaan Parish, because it's not actually tax credit units. So the whole process is different. From a landlord's perspective, it's much easier. We're still working out what it means as how the landlord will interface under the tenant side of things. But literally the units are, the affordability is attributable to the unit, not necessarily to the tenant, which again, from a property perspective, that's huge. How much that ends up helping everyone is a little bit different. And the discounts of going from market rate to AMI is somewhere around probably a 20% discount. So it's nowhere near as steep as, and again, I may be off on any of these numbers, but it's nowhere near as steep as like the 80% SMI that exist over at Canaan Parish and Millport.
Okay, so you're saying it'll be 20% less than the market rate?
I think in general, that's probably about the right scope. Does that sound about right, Tim, or am I way off?
No, that's a little bit high, I think. It's probably inside 20%.
Mm-hmm.
But we just started kind of reviewing that with some compliance folks in the last week or so. So that'll be a while before it comes out. And, getting back to your point about the difficulty leasing, Scott, we're actually holding our own with what I think is our most logical competition. Avalon in Wilton, and the former Avalon in Darien. Wilton's Avalon's doing a little bit better. I think they've done 7 leases over the same period of time, when we've done 5, and Darien's only done 2. Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably a couple months. But as you said, they've been slow.
The units that you're referring to, the 21, she has a list of people over there on a wait list. Those people will be contacted for the 21 units?
It's a different process. So we're working through that with Greystar and with what we need to with Greystar, but it's a different process because it is an FHA loan, not tax credit based. Tax credit based ends up having the formal wait list and everything that that we utilize over at Canaan Parish and Millport. It will be different at Riverwood.
Okay, so how does one? So any wait list that she had from people going over there initially, that it doesn't matter, that they wouldn't contact any of those people.
I think actually we'll probably end up trying to figure out how to contact them and discuss stuff with them in the not too distant future.
Oh, okay. So
it's probably end of summer or early fall as opposed to otherwise. And again, it's not going to be the same process that's utilized for tax credit projects such as Canaan Parish or Millport.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to see what that is, just what that means, right?
Exactly.
All right, thanks,
Yep.
Scott.
I was under the impression that all the Avalons have been sold in Connecticut. So is
Yes.
Wilton still Avalon or
The one
it's
on River
something?
Road is not, because I go by it and it's got another name.
Yeah, they'll change over to something else. They had an advantage that their transaction was much faster and better communicated than ours. We were stuck under non-disclosure stuff, and we were dealing with Fannie Mae, which just takes a long time. And so, we ended up having a gap where people didn't know what was going to happen. Whereas on the other properties, they sold, the money was put up, the earnest money, there was like lack of communication for maybe a day. And then the new owners were talking to all the tenants and saying, this is what's happening and how it's all going to work. So they did not have the same issues about uncertainty.
Okay. So all the Avalons have been sold as far as you know in Connecticut?
Correct.
Okay.
They're all gone.
And Wilton was the last one?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This
Okay.
is Jim. I'm sorry I didn't get in earlier. I think you called it
Sure.
having some technical issues, but I have a question because in the last few days, we had some very loud sparking from a utility pole or lines right outside my apartment and near building 6 as well. So it brought to mind the transient voltage surge protection as to what the status of that project is.
Amy or Rick, do you guys have, or Alex, do you guys have any?
It's a project that's kind of sitting in the file. It's one we haven't pursued lately. Was the surge that you saw on the utility pole out on the street, or was it on the property?
Yeah,
It
it
was
was.
I never
Yeah, it was-
determined exactly where it was. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
it was near-
It was right next to 6. That's where they worked on it.
Yeah,
So
on the outside of the property.
And
Out
we
on the
didn't lose
street.
power at all here, but
Mhm.
power was lost somewhere else in town for about 600 people, I think. The Stanford
Yeah.
Advocate had a story, but it was on the pole out here, but none of the tenants here had an issue, I don't think.
No, we
with
didn't have any
losing
issues
anything.
on our property at all. They did ask us if we did. We did not have any issues on the property at all. They said that particular transformer is not even for our property. It's towards the other side of town, which is so weird. I don't know, like
It was very weird.
yeah, it's like
And
the way
loud.
they have it, the transformers that we have for our property are like 2 blocks east of us. And we're dealing with the outage was another 4 blocks east of us, but it was shown here. I don't understand what they do or how they have their transformer boxes or how this became about. I don't know, but this is what it was. They said that it had, one of the converters had, exploded or whatever. And then I guess the surge that went through, that's why we had a little bit of sparking on it by us. But it wasn't close enough to our property to cause any damage.
Okay. But so anyway, getting back to the question, Jim, it's something that I haven't picked up, but I will make a note to pick it up. It's just one of those projects that's out there that we know we need to look at. We just haven't gotten to.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else under public before we go to executive session?
Think we're good.
Seeing none, thank you guys for calling in. And sorry, do we have a motion to go to executive session?
I'll move.
Tim did such move. Second, Peggy?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Cindy, Jim, and Wendy. Appreciate it.
Right? Good
Okay.
night. Thank you.
Night.
Bye-bye.
My only force record. Come on, where is it?
Okay, we're recording.
All right. We're back
Yep.
from executive session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll move.
Second.
Tony moves.
Second.
Seconds. All in favor? Aye.
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 Good night, everyone. Have a happy
Thanks, everyone.
Easter.
Good night.
Thanks, Bernie.
Great
Thank you,
Passover.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. And Scott, if maybe just shoot me like when you might be available to meet with these folks in Darien.
I think you go for the
when you're back in
second
town.
week in 1 second here.
You can do that. Basically, the meeting is closed. I have to shut it down.
All right. Hold it, give us 1 second here, Bernie, and then yeah, that week of the that week of the 5th is good.
Okay.
Following week is actually kind of got anniversaries and birthdays, and then the week of the 19th is good.
Okay.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good. All right.
Great, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.